Okay, Bible translations and Bible reading. So let's talk about that real quick. What kind of Bible translations would I recommend or suggest? Now, before we get into that, you gotta know there are two basic theories on how to translate Scripture. Okay, so the first theory is they go word for word. So they try to translate it as wooden as possible. It's very literal. It's very, very word for word. And then you've got the thought per thought, meaning they try to translate scripture according to the thought or the intention of the original authors. So one good example I would like to use is Amos. When Amos says, when God says through the prophet Amos that you guys are so disobedient to me, so I'm going to give you cleanness of teeth. And so the word that's word for word, cleanness of teeth. And you're kind of wondering, what does that mean? Well, if your teeth is clean, that means you've got no food going in, meaning it was a famine. God was going to discipline his people through a famine. So God says cleanness of teeth. But if you look at the thought per thought translation, you're just going to see that God caused famine to spread in the land. So which is better? To me, I actually read a little bit of both. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to read to get like the ouch, like the ooh, like the because God can be very sarcastic through the prophets. Okay, so God's words through the prophets can be very sarcastic, very biting, very painful, with the use of irony, with the use of sarcasm, with the use of exaggeration. So the word for word translations give you all of that, while the thought per thought just gives you a kind of like more of, not really a summary, but more of a you just kind of know the gist of what's happening. All right. Now, so what Bible translations would I recommend? Personally, I would, if you want the word-for-word translations, you've got the ESV, the NASB. If you want the thought per thought, you go for something like the NLT or the NET, and then you've got the dynamic translations somewhere in the middle. You've got the NIV, and you've got the Amplified Version. Now, those are the only Bible translations I would personally recommend. And then you've got somewhere in between, maybe thought per thought. Somewhere in between word for word, and somewhere in the middle of that would be the CSB or the HCSB, which I also recommend. So I would strongly or highly recommend you read different types of translations just so you get a good feel of, but choose one translation that you really like and be familiar with that. So personally, for my personal devotions, okay, I read the NET, the New English Translation, okay, the NET. For my studies, I read the ESV, and I partner that with the NIV, the NET, the HCSB, and even the King James sometimes, the KJV. All right, I don't read the NKJV. It's like if you got the KJV, why go through the others, right? So now let's talk about Bible reading. Bible reading can be a little confusing to a lot of people. Why? There are so many Bible reading plans out there to finish the whole Bible in a year. Some reading plans say read 2 chapters of the New Testament, 2 chapters of the Old Testament. Others say 2 chapters of the New Testament, 1 chapter Psalm, 1 chapter Proverbs. And others would even say read 2 Old Testament chapters, 1 New Testament chapter, and then 1 proverb or 1 psalm. Okay, I don't suggest any of those. Actually, I don't like them. Why? Every chapter, not chapter, but book. Every book of the Bible has different contexts. Okay, and when it comes to narratives, even the different parts, like Book of Acts or the Gospels, they've got their own contexts depending on what's happening in the chapter that you're reading. So if every book has its own context and you're going to keep jumping in the same during one sitting, you're jumping from one part of the Bible to the next, it can be very confusing. For me, it's kind of like, can you imagine this for a moment? You're watching Jurassic Park, right? You're watching Jurassic Park. 15 minutes into the film, you pause it and then you watch Batman. And then after 15 minutes of Batman, you pause it and then you watch the Avengers. And then 15 minutes again, you pause it and then you watch Hachiko. And then 15 minutes into that, you pause it and you watch a Korean movie. So it's going to get very confusing, and you end up having different contexts from different movies, and you're just going to get lost in translation, right? So here's my suggestion. First, remember this. If you read 4 chapters a day, you're going to end up finishing the Bible in 1 year. Okay, so 4 chapters a day equals 1 whole year for the Bible. Once you understand that, just go through the Bible the way you would read or any regular book. If it's your very, very first time reading the Bible, I would suggest the Gospels. Maybe start with Luke or John. Those are my 2 favorites. Luke or John. Those are 2 really good places to start. And then if you start with Luke, for example, so Luke, and then after Luke, read John, and then Acts, Romans, Corinthians, all the way to Revelation. When you're done with Revelation, go back to Genesis, and then go all the way back to Luke. So just read 4 chapters a day, and you'll be done with the Bible for the whole year. And just read through it. It's going to be more systematic. You won't get lost in translation. The context will be pretty much the same as you go through the Bible. And then choose a translation that you like, something you prefer, something that's easy to read for you personally. I started reading the Bible with King James, and then I stopped. Then I went into NASB, and then I got into NIV. And then now, as I said, I read devotionally NET, and then I study with the ESV and all the other translations. All right, so I hope this was helpful when it comes to Bible translations and Bible reading. God bless you guys.